5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Ralph William Podcast. And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. Cafecito!
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Un cafecito.
I'm choking on my coffee.
Hey, does anybody want coffee? Who wants coffee? I just made a fresh pot of coffee. Does anybody want coffee? Who wants coffee? Does anybody want coffee? Who wants coffee?
Having conversations about society, one cup at a time. Coffee with RW.
Un cafecito.
Pour yourself a cup and join us.
Es un cafecito.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It is the 25th of June, meaning we're almost at the end of the month. And that means men's mental health will be forgotten. Usually what happens to a lot of these fad traditions and, social justice things and whatnot, they usually get a lot of traction in the beginning, but then when the month is over or the day is done, it becomes a day of the past. So we're going to try and attempt to keep today or this month a long-term livable practice, but also a recap of what's been going on with Men's Mental Health Month. We will do our best to attack this subject. And for anybody that wants to chime in, please let us know. And then they'll let me know. And then the chain of command will proceed, and then I will let you up. But before we get there, thank everybody for tuning in. My name is Ralph William. You can follow me on X at Ralph William. You can follow my internet station on X as well, WESN Radio. You can download our mobile app on your app store. Just search for Epic Strategies Network, and you'll see the Skull and Bones pop up. You can also help support us by joining our Patreon by going to patreon.com/WESN Radio and help support the station. Everything that we receive goes back into the station to help keep it running with licensing, running costs, etc., etc. But for those of you that know me, this is Coffee with RW. This is how we do this. If you got your coffee mugs, your travel mugs, your sippy cups, your doggy bowls, if you got a beer hat, you want to drink it like that, then go ahead and do so. And join me in this sip of cafecito. Ooh. Someone join me on that sip.
No.
Sir. Oh. You're on your own.
This is here and hear that slurping again,
I needed to do it twice. It's so nice. Because it's Wednesday, hump day.
That was a violent slurp.
It was violent. Very violent, kind of like the some of the after effects of men's mental health. When they break down, some can become violent.
Nice.
Just to throw that out there. Yes. Just a reminder. All right, just to let everybody know, if you're listening to this for the first time, we need to introduce people that obviously are regulars to this podcast. But if you are not, we have a man by the name of Asha. He goes by the name of Man Cave Sound here on this application, and he is out in the UK. And the brethren that I've known for several years already, and he was the one that got the ball rolling to get this Men's Mental Health Month awareness out there. And this is our second installment of Men's Mental Health Month, the recap. And what's going on, Asha? How are you?
What's going on, Ralphie, man? What's going on? See, I like the way how we're now very professional. I like it. I'm going to try my best to keep it PC. I like it.
But it's okay.
That's it.
Yeah, sometimes we'll get a little rambunctious, and being that it's Men's Mental Health Month or just men in general, we might let a couple F-bombs slip by. Who knows?
Yeah. Most likely it'll be me straight away, but hey, fuck
Hey,
it.
there you go. Also, we're joined by, I'm sorry, did you want to say anything else? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, for people listening on, but I know you've already just covered it, what we're saying. But what we're doing, we're just chatting. It's not like, right, men's mental health. We need to make it all serious and all of that. Just sit back, chat some nonsense. What's on your mind? How you feeling? Experiences you may have had or you've not had, or things what might be worrying you, what we might be able to all help each other out on. But sorry, Ralphie, I jumped to port yet. Let you introduce the rest of the panel. Go.
So we're also joined by another gentleman that hangs out with us almost, I don't know, consistently, and we want to say thank you. He's out in the East Coast. Oh no, I'm sorry, the West Coast. West Coast, based out of California. And he has his own podcast as well that you can probably find a great interview by William. No, I always think I'm saying the wrong name. It is William Hung, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I always thinking that it's
right?
that it's a porn name. Please don't yawn on my show.
Sorry, Ralph.
No, that's
That will
okay.
happen again, sir.
No, carry on. Go ahead.
No, thanks, man. I just want to point out the sneaky little be a man that Asher threw in there. Like, he's like, yeah, it's mental health month, but we're just hanging out and talking. We're not really, discussing our feelings or mental health or nothing like that. And
No, I didn't mean
be a
it like
man.
that. Be a man. Forget your
Be a man. That's all.
No, I didn't
And
mean it
also-
like that. I was explaining for people just listening on and feel if they're listening on thinking, because some people can find when it says men's mental health, oh, it's all intense and I've got to really sit and listen to it.
True.
I just meant it in the sense it's just, it's on the topic of conversation, but we're just here just to vibe. That's what
Just the
that's
vibe, exactly. Yeah.
We can go deep though, if the need be. You know what I'm saying?
Perfect.
Also, Ash, I just want to one more very important thing. Put a girl on. That's all. Thank you, Ralph.
It's a girl on, yes.
Put a girl on.
Put a girl on. So we're also being joined by, I don't know if he's going to be contributing much to this show, but he is here, Rockweiler, out on the East Coast in the southern state of Florida. If you want to say what's up, go ahead.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay, thank you. We're also joined by Mr. A, also a regular here, straight out of Ohio, truck driver, and who causes a lot of mental health issues for a lot of other
I
men.
was going to say he's also a mental case.
Yes. If you had to stop at a job site with him, he would, Anyway, what's up, Mr. A?
What up, though?
What up, though?
Secure my mental health, though. Just a man that's mental. I'll tell you. What's up, everybody?
What's going on? All right, we got
my job site and terrorize somebody, just like you said.
Yeah. Hey, I like how you just, hey, you calling people geniuses sometimes,
Yeah, you know.
Hey, that load don't go there, genius.
You big dummy.
You big dummy. All right, well, we got the fellas out the way, unless there's other men that want to jump up, but we got some ladies on the panel as well. We have Mama Bear Tracy straight out of Canada, and she might be taking a shower at the moment. Who knows? But good morning, Mama Bear. How are you?
I'm good,
She's taking a shower.
Ralph.
She's scrubbing. She's scrubbing right now. Yes. She's scrubbing her toesy rosies. Yes. Ah. And we're also joined by Jersey's own Blunt Ninja. Good morning, Jersey.
Yer.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
We good. We're just going to be tackling here some men's mental health.
I love it. It doesn't get enough
attention.
Attention.
Yeah. Yes. And we'll try our best to stay formal and stay on course. But, you know, when you have a bunch of men on the panel, it could go sideways. But,
Banter.
Right.
Banter.
Yes.
That's what we're going to say.
Hansa? What'd you say?
Banter.
Cancer?
No, banter. Who's gay?
Oh, banter. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot my translator. Sorry.
Fucking hell. Banter. You know.
All right.
Shooting the jerks.
There you go. Have it on. No, that's something else. Okay. I mean, that didn't take long.
You did well. 7 minutes in, mate. You did well.
I did all right. It was tough.
It was. You know what, mate? I'm glad you got it out there now. So you see.
Man, that was.
And I purposely
violent.
do it.
Damn, that was violent.
And I purposely do it.
Do you know what? People listening to this show, they'll be like hearing it, they'll be like, "God, my ears! This offends my ears."
Yeah.
So,
kind of like my Jersey accent. Anyway, yes. So, where would you like to tackle first, Asha?
do you know
anything in particular?
How are you, Ralph? Or not you? How is things like?
So, I guess we're sharing. So I maybe like a couple of months ago, I got in a big of a rut, and one of the main things that a lot of guys, I'm assuming, right? I don't know if that's the case. I did try to ask it, like, what are some top 5 things that could cause a man to get in a rut or you know, have issues with, you know, mental illness and things like that. Right off the top of my head, if I remember correctly, one of them was finances, which is, you know, a lot of us. But that's probably like almost number 1. Second would be health. Third, I think, is loss of testosterone. Getting old, right? You know what I'm saying? And maybe like feeling secluded, feeling alone, things like that. And I got hit with, finances was always an issue with me, right? But that's just, you know, we just got to roll with the punches, which is another thing that men usually say or do, and we don't give it the attention that we should. But getting old usually is what hit me very hard, knowing that I'm not 20 anymore, that there's going to be things that I won't be able to do. And that does a toll on you, not just for men, but just people in general, because we're all going to go through it. We're all going to be hit with the limitations that we become to experience, right, at a certain age. And there's certain ways to handle it. One, you can look back and like, all right, maybe there's something that I've been doing that has progressed it quickly that I can try and work at slowing down, and, you know, and that's where I'm at now, is trying to fix the somewhat damage that I've done to myself, that I can't really blame anybody else but myself, you know, being very not moving a lot like I used to, podcasting, sitting down all the time, you know, it's all that does a toll on you. So I feel a little bit better now because I've been taking certain steps to getting my health back somewhat. But there's always something there that, you know, you have to come to grips with, that you're going to have to deal with. So that's where I'm coming from. And I don't without getting specific, but that's where I'm at, and it's an ongoing thing. And I'm trying to get my mind focused, and have the power to change what I can control, right? But there's just certain things that you can't control. Father time is one thing that you can't control, but that's where I'm at, bro. How are you?
You know what? To be fair, I'm on the up. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm on the up. For the past couple of months, have been rough. Anxiety's been a very naughty thing, but dealing with it and recognizing it the most, and not just going, you know what, it's all right. It's like I was telling you that with my chest, or that, you know what I'm saying? Like I should have gone to the doctors and got it sorted, but I never went and got it done. Now I know I got to. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So making them small little steps, and then beating that anxiety. Do you know how better you feel? And the pressures and the thing is, it's not even the pressures of like society, and it's just the pressures of your health and recognizing. And I think even though we don't recognize, like I said to you that on the last show, we don't recognize our own struggle because we've just been beat down too much. No, not beat down, that's the wrong word. We've been what's the right word?
We've been hiding it.
Yeah, like we're just told to go on, move on. It's all right.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you know what I mean? And it's hard, really. Like and then that's what makes you feel alone, and then like that's what makes people commit suicide so quick. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
unmet suicide rates is just through the fucking roof. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a sad world we live in.
Yeah, there is I believe it's like up to, I think the last time I checked, they say like 75% of suicides are men, right?
Yeah.
And it's pretty rough. Go ahead.
And like, no disrespect to their feelings, but it is the cowardice way of doing shit. And rather than just going, hey, brother, let's go and have a 5 minutes. And then when you have a 5 minutes, that 5 minutes for someone could be the difference between saving someone's life or not seeing them again. Do you know what I mean? And we're all very, as well as men, we're deaf. Do you know what I mean? We need visual. We need to see that shit's going out, because you wouldn't notice it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't know if I was going through anything. Until I said, "Oh, Ralph, I don't need a 5 minutes." But sometimes just the norm, like, we don't even want to talk about it. Just the norm of us just being on here, talking nonsense and having a giggle makes us feel a lot better. And it's hard for other people to understand that sometimes. Do you know what I mean? And we all go through things, and it's hard for us to admit it. And I know I always joke about, say, yeah, be a man, grow up, but but that's how we've been programmed to be: is grow up, move on, shut up, you'll be all right.
Right.
You know, and we're not. Truth is, we're not. And you're right.
Yeah, it's the age-old thing that, and I think, like I said, we touched upon it last time, is that men, for the most part, obviously I guess it's safe to say that we're the violent ones, right? We do the wars, we create wars, and some of them had warrant, it was warranted and things like that. So I'm trying to bring bridge two different things together. So like one of the signs of like a man that's going through some stuff is being irritable and angry all the time and snappy at anything, right? That's one of the signs that they could probably going through some stuff. And that aggression is one of the ways that we're able to, or at least we try to. That's one of the ways that we're able to put it out there. You know, get it out of our system. Some men use comedy. You know, making fun of things. You know what I'm saying? It's like the age old, like the comedian. Like the most like depressed people are probably comedians because the way that they were able to have an outlet is through humor.
Yeah, that Robin Williams.
Look at the prime example. Robin Williams was one of the funniest men, you know, out there now or before. I think he is now still probably. Yeah. And you would never know that he was struggling with depression.
No.
And to the point where, you know, he took his own life. You know, and maybe it had something to do with the kind of drugs he was given, that maybe it wasn't understandable at the time, but he probably couldn't have those close individuals that he could say, hey, man, I'm going through some things, right?
But the thing is as well, it's like even your very close person, your brethren, if you said, it would be, and the thing is, it would be the most random times where, I don't know, like me and you, say for example, or let's say, or whatever, we're just sat back talking some nonsense, and I mean pure nonsense. And then you'll go, oh, you know what? My head's a bit fucked. I can't deal with nothing today. And then you go, but then you'll be like, yeah, well, did you see the football last night? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I don't want to hear it.
I don't want to hear that shit. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's how, and it's hard for us to recognize. And then we won't say it again. Do you know what I mean? If we got heard in that moment, you're fine. But if you don't get heard in that moment, you're really struggling. And then you never know. And then sometimes you sit there and then you'd feel guilt, like if someone did pass away, you'd sit there and then you'd be like, fuck, we was just speaking about something the other day. And then you'd only just realise, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really sad thing in life. Like we just don't recognise, and then when we try to recognise, nobody understands because you feel too embarrassed to say, yeah, I'm struggling today. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is, like anxiety, for example, it can send you into stupid. Do you know some of the things that you've had an anxiety? I don't know if you've experienced anxiety or not, or anything.
Oh, I have, and it's been happening. I don't want to say. Well, yeah, it's been noticeable lately. Is what I'm trying to get at. Like before, I probably never noticed it or never gave it any mind, but it's been noticeable lately.
And that's what I was just about to say. And then there's sometimes when you sit and you think, am I really getting anxious over something completely trivial and nothing? Like, I don't know. Say, for example, you went down the street and you saw something dodgy down the street and you're like, no, I'm not going down there no more. Do you know what I mean? And you think, it's a bloody street, for God's sake. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, back in the day, you would have walked there with your chest up high and just grilling any other person down the on the road, and just be like, you feeling froggy?
That's it. Like, you want to jump, brother? Like, what you saying? Like,
what you say? Exactly.
If I said to you, Ralph, I went down that street the other day and that made me feel a bit funny, you'd be like, shut up, that's all right. But we just we're not sensitive to know that really affected you rather than it actually really affected you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a big struggle what we have.
Yeah, because it's kind of, and other fellas on the panel, if you want to say something, just let us know, man. Don't let us just yap on ourselves.
Yes.
Because when we're trying to like, if one of the ways that we're able to talk to our brethrens, is through like comedy, like that would be one of our ways to like, is to make fun of it, right? Because that's how we make it less than what it is, right? Like,
yeah.
Because that's probably, I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but like just to ease the anxiety, like it's all right, man. Like it's all right, man. It's just a a dark road or whatever, a dark alley. The Jack the Ripper is not going to rape you, or something. I don't know. Just I can't figure it. I'm not a comedian.
Come on, Jack the Ripper now. After all those people you can get.
Well, because you're in London or whatever, the UK. That's the only thing they popped in my head.
Well,
Carry on.
At least he tried.
At least, yeah.
But yeah,
it seems much. Someone in the chat says it seems much easier to minimize things to yourself to make sense of them. Yeah, I mean that might be that might be like a person's coping strategy, right? Like, it's nothing. It's just a paycheck. I'll get something next week or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And that's the reality, isn't it? That is the reality of it all. But we think it's easy, but the person who's going through it think it's absolutely life changing.
Yeah, because at that time, it's really having an effect in your body. Like you don't have that. Well, I don't know. Maybe a lot of men probably don't have that feeling of like hopelessness, right? It's like because you're feeling hopeless in that moment. Like when you're young, if you might have gone down that alleyway or whatever, like you might get hit with the anxiety, but it turns into like your fight or flight response. Like, all right, well, hey, if it's gonna pop off, I'm ready. Like you get your adrenaline rush, you're ready to like attack anything that moves. Like that's how your biology protects itself. Your biology protects itself mentally through that, right? Like if you see something dodgy, you're gonna be like in that mindset, like, all right, well, I'm gonna be like a little chihuahua and just start biting at ankles. I don't care, But when you get older, you know your limitations. You lived a little, maybe you've gone to the doctor a couple of days ago, and I'm like, oh, I gotta take care of myself, and then you're like, I can't roll around, the concrete jungle as like I used to, so then you're left with that anxiety and vulnerability.
Like if I swing too hard, I'm gonna put my shoulder out.
right? Like bro, I woke up the other day with a shoulder pain and I'm like, bro, I was just sleeping. I didn't do anything. Like, why am I waking up with like a shoulder pain? Maybe I slept on it. Who knows? And now I got to figure out, like, all right, well, how do I alleviate this so that it doesn't become another problem,
And let me ask you something, as to the older people, like, it gets, because I'm getting it now slowly, where you like, where you look at things a lot differently. But then you look at like at your guys' ages. I'm not trying to put you out like you're really old people, but I don't want to float that.
Yeah.
But like at your guys' ages now, I bet you guys miss the feeling of, yeah, I still got it. I would know if I was like you're saying, if you're going down the alley and you think, I would love, I could probably take them if they went for me. But that feeling of knowing that you could probably do it, but then also it's a massive fear, like, nah, this is a 50-50. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's what puts us down. And makes us feel like we're not alive anymore. I think, do you know what the cause, like, well, not the cause, but a trigger for mental health for men is that feeling of, I think I thought I had it. I've still got it. Like something to prove to yourself, not like masculine, like, oh, I'm Johnny Rock,
Right.
but just to know that, yeah, I can still do that shit. But like, it's like if you know someone who's, I don't know, like a runner who's fucking 60, and you're like, that's what keeps them going. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But
yeah, because I still see like, well, obviously they're probably taking some stuff, who knows, but you can see, I've seen videos of these like 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, like still lifting weights, and, you know, they got their, you know, obviously it's a little more, I don't want to say older, but they still got some muscle to them, you know, their muscle tone. And I'm like, man, they still got it. They're still able to do it. I think I just saw a news thing yesterday or the day before of a man who was like, I don't know what they call it, like Mr. something. Like he was a bodybuilder for so long, for like decades. And just recently, he's like 80 something years old, and he still went out to, like, I don't know if it was like a local thing or a senior thing or whatever. And he still went out there and posed. Like if he, I mean, he's, for his age, he was still in good shape, but he was still out there. Like he didn't let that stop him, right? Like he went out there and still got a medal or whatever, you know, the trophy for being able to pose, you know, as a bodybuilder at like 80 something years old. I'm like, yeah, good for you, man.
that's what I'm saying, and I bet he felt like the fucking diamond. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like that last hurrah. I don't want to say last hurrah, but it's like still giving you that feeling that, yeah, you can still do it.
Yeah.
It's like my somebody in my family, I won't say who, but they're older, and they've always been like, I don't want to say like the party type, but they're always down for, you know, going out, having a good time and stuff like that. But they're older, so they can't really do a lot of things, but they still have it in them to be like, hey, like, I'm going to go to the casino. I want to go get some wine. You know, let's go get some good food, some good drink. Like that keeps them like, it gives them life, right? Rather than sitting around, laying around, waiting for, you know, the inevitable. They still want to go out and party it up and live, right? And that's something that I don't know if, like, I would want every person to do that, but some people aren't there yet. Some people got to learn how to do that, you know, learn to live, because it's kind of like you said with the alleyway scenario. Like you look down the alley and you got a feeling in your gut like, oh man, that's a little dodgy. So you avoid it. You go a different route. And you keep doing that for other things. And then you move, and it goes into like a risky business or job offer that you want, that you're probably like, I don't know if I could do that kind of job. I probably won't take it. You know, and then it escalates, and then you just in a little bubble, scared to do anything. Yeah. You know, and that's not healthy either, because that causes mental health as well. Now, I'm not, you know, I'm the last person to, like, you know, take my own advice, because you know, I live in a bubble myself, you know, but I slowly see, like, when I have my little episodes, like, damn, man, I you know, all the things that I enjoy doing, I won't be able to do, or that kind of feeling, that hopelessness, and it really does a toll on you, right? But if you try in little small increments, like, not to let that happen, you know, like take little chances, or I don't want to say chances, that might be a little.
If you risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah, like if you risk it just a little bit, you get that little feeling of I'm still alive. I still got it. I still, can overcome little things, You're not going to be like, well, hey man, I'm going to get married again. No, don't do that. Cause that's a lot of, I mean, things like that. I mean, if you want to take that much of a risk, then go for it. That's on you. But that's one of those things that can do men over, when one of the things was finances, right? And then having like a whole life and then having it go away, because of divorce or separation or something like that can do a toll on you. So like if you muster up enough to want to do that again, like that's power to you, because that's a risk. And certain people, certain men, like that can only happen once and that's it. Like that did so much damage to them. They don't want to do that again. Yeah. So let me just get on this, try and throw some sort of facts or information out here. Men aged 18 to 50 have the highest suicide rates, and posts on X suggest Black men are 20% more likely to have PTSD, anxiety, or depression than other groups. Well, obviously, right? Because,
It's hard being black, man.
yeah, the fucking popo. Younger men and veterans face higher risks, with veterans at about 40 suicides a day. That's crazy. In the veterans section, 40 suicides a day. Hey, Chua.
Yeah, welcome on Chilling William. Call up, man.
All right. Is there anything that you want to chime in, Blunt?
I just think that we need to have better mental health for our veterans, especially with all the cuts that have been happening in the government now. You're just going to see the suicide rates rising. And it's terrible.
Yeah. And, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Is there something else you want to say?
No, that's it. That's it.
Good morning, Chill Will. How are you? You're a little low. Oh.
Am I? My bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. What you talking about?
Doing his frog impression again.
Yeah. Got a frog in his throat.
I can't.
Yeah, now we hear you.
I can hardly hear Dave, so I can't use Ralph. Can you hear me? You can't hear me?
Yeah, now we hear you, bro.
Okay.
Go ahead. What are your thoughts on the Men's Mental Health Month? Anything that you want to in particularly air out? Or you just came in. I'm sorry. You just came in. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know necessarily the subject matter, so I just want to just start rambling on something.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah. We're trying to do like a recap of Men's Mental Health Month. Maybe drilling a couple of things that we talked about on the last one, and shedding a light on some new things. We were just going through like men in general, or at least for me, like one of my issues that I was going through is like the fact that we're not 20 anymore, and that makes you not take a lot of more risks in life, right?
Sure.
And Asher gave the example of, and I think we keep going back to it, is when you're going down a certain alleyway that feels dodgy and you're like, man, this is giving me anxiety. I don't know if I want to go down this alley because I could get beat up, robbed, and I won't. And I'm at, I can't defend myself. And you start to avoid the alleyway and go different routes and find safer ways. And then the last thing I said that, sometimes we continuously do that, and then we just end up in our own little bubble with probably more anxiety, and we're not feeling as alive as we probably need to be. I don't know. What do you think?
Uh, it's so crazy because you're speaking to some things that are close to me.
Mhm.
I just had a conversation about going skydiving yesterday,
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, I'm 40. I'm not doing no shit like 45. I'm not doing no shit like that. Like that's some shit you do when you're young and you don't care. But
Mhm.
I was talking to the person I was talking to. I was on eating dinner with. And I'm like, yeah, you got kids. It was just kind of elaborating on how they're down to do anything. I said, I don't know if I'm gonna do anything, but I ain't gonna do nothing like skydive. I do a lot, but I ain't skydiving nowhere. But that's a that's true. Literally, and that scenario you gave about the alley is true, literally, and you know, figuratively, right?
Mhm.
Like you watch out for alleyways, like of life in general. You tend to create your own box, and I run into that a lot, especially like I run into and it drives me up a wall sometimes because that same person that has kids, she's raising kids, and so she's kind of putting that off on her children, and so her box is that's a real box that you can create that it may be nonsensical in some cases, but it comes from a nurturing place, so you can't tell them that they're wrong. Uh, but it's always the age old adage: do you shelter them from the world, or do you expose them and get prepared? Because things happen. So if you shelter them, nothing won't happen to them. But then they get mad for experiencing they didn't experience life. They're not prepared. But if you
Right.
if you don't shelter them, something happens, then you regret that you don't. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But that box is real. And in reference to men's mental health, like for me, I don't necessarily know if I created a box, but I definitely you you just certain stuff you don't want to do because you get older, you mature, and you just not gonna go run into nobody's fight, just cause it's got to be something worth your while to expend a certain energy or valuable asset in your life. So that makes perfect sense. And one thing I can, since I am a veteran, I can speak to that. You're absolutely right, Blunt. Everything's going to get a lot harder. Just not necessarily about the suicide rate, but just in general for people to get health, any kind of health help, help. It's been made harder on the troops as well because he's decreased. Oh, well, they've decreased a lot. They and added tenfold the responsibility to each individual person that's there. So it's so crazy. Everything's so crazy because you would think there would be the opposite, especially with you know, the, the I guess I don't want to make it political, but the Republicans in office, that you think that they kind of bolster the military opposed to decreasing from it. So yeah, who knows? But that's real too. That's real.
Yeah, it's just let me just throw this out there. So, 5 reasons men get depressed are financial stress, feeling isolated, job loss, or lack of purpose, health issues, and relationship problems. Those are like the top 5, causes of men's mental health issues and depression and things like that. Financial, obviously, is there, right? Sometimes we can control it, sometimes we don't. Lack of purpose, that's I don't know that. Sorry, I'm trying to stay focused on one thing, but there's so many ways that we can go there. It's the alleyway thing you were talking about, mostly children, but keeping yourself in a box. I think the fine line is when men have to figure out, like, all right, how to divide experience and like risk taking, right? Like the fine line, like, all right, because of my issues that I've had in this situation, like I have an idea that this situation is going to be the same. It's not necessarily like you're trying to avoid, risks, but having the foresight to know, like, all right, there's some red flags here that are not going to suit me well, So I just want to make that, put that out there. Like, we're not saying that just because you don't want to go down this alleyway. Like, if this alleyway here has higher statistics of somebody getting mugged, right? Like, you're not going to be like, I'm going to walk through it just so I can be that 1% that survives. Like, no, you're going to think about it and be like, you know what? Maybe that's not in my best interest, right? But in terms of like doing something new, to your capabilities, that shouldn't scare you. Like, because that's all that we can take with us, right? When it's all said and done, like experiences, how we're feeling, and things like that. But let me start introducing more people that's on the panel. Chill Will also, he is a veteran, right? Chill Will, you're a veteran, right? Chill Will's a veteran. We also have the old man from the Old Man's podcast. You can find them wherever you get your podcast. He also has a radio show out there. You can also find him on mixcloud.com. And I believe he's on a radio station as well. What was is it Time Ride Radio? I think I got the name wrong.
Yeah, good morning, Ralph. It's Ride Time Radio.
Oh, Ride. Okay, maybe I got dyslexia. Okay, so it's Ride Time Radio.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Smartass.
Yeah.
So make sure to go check out the Old Man's podcast wherever you listen to your podcast, and Ride Time Radio. All right.
Yeah.
You're also out on the West Coast in Washington, so it might be super early for you. So
yeah,
thank you for joining us.
I just got up and got the notice from Asha, and it's like, oh crap, So
see, we knew you'd forget. You see, with the old age.
Yeah. So, I got a couple of thoughts on mental health, though.
Yes, please.
When you were referencing age. Oh, let me tell you, I'm 72 years old. I'll be 72 in next
what?
month.
I thought you were younger.
No, I'll be 72 in about a little over a week. July 6th.
Okay.
And I tell you, nothing is more nothing weighs on you more than that. And if people say it don't, they're lying. They're lying to you, because you wake up one day and all of a sudden you can't do half the stuff you used to do. You know what I'm saying? And because your body's getting older, it's deteriorating, and you're not thinking as quick as you used to, and life is just caught up with you. It's like that old joke that people say, my brain said, my brain says I'm 25, but my body says I'm 72. You know what I'm saying? And that weighs on you. It's a real rough thing. It's a rough thing. It's a mental challenge all the time. Because you just can't move, you just can't think, you just can't do the things you used to do.
But old man,
yeah,
how have you learned to deal with it though, or accept it?
Well, you just have to accept you're getting old. You just have to accept it. I mean, I'm still to this day, Asha. I mean, the old adage that when I wake up in the morning and I'm shocked by the old guy that's looking at me in the mirror, that literally did happen to me. I mean, I woke up one day, went into the bathroom to get went into the bathroom to get cleaned up, and I looked in the mirror and it was like, Jesus, who's that old guy? And it just catches up. I just got to deal with it. You just have to accept it. You have to accept that age is a part of life. Growing older is a part of life. Getting to where you're not as fast as you used to be, or your reflexes are a whole lot slower than what they used to be. You can't stay focused, like you used to be able to stay focused. It's all just part of life. It's just what happens, and you just got to accept it and move on. There are things you can do to correct this stuff, but I mean, you see all the old people in the gyms and that, they're still trying to stay in shape and all that. That's all fine and dandy, and that's good for you. But I think the best part of that isn't so much that they're striving for, renewed youth, but it's giving them something to do. I think that is the biggest problem, is not having anything to do. We find ourselves idle. We've got too much idle time. Too much idle time. We live in a day and age. These are all my personal opinions. I didn't come on here to argue or fight with anybody, but these are my opinions. And I think that we have just too much idle time. We live in a society that everything is basically done for us. I mean, everything's done. Everything's done for us, and we don't do stuff ourselves anymore. We don't use our hands. We don't create anymore. We don't apply our life lessons and grow. We just stop. we just stop, and because we don't have nothing that we're not having to force ourselves to do anything. I mean, look at research. Looking at stuff up. What do? You grab your phone, you Google something. That's not research. Research is when you have to dig around, find articles, find papers and books, and talk to people and that kind of stuff. Not anymore. Everything is so easy. Everything's just at the reach of our hand. And I think what we need to do is we need to get back to having hobbies, something that causes you to use that part of our brain that has disappeared, and that's the creation part of our brain. We're creators. Human beings are creators. We create. We work with our hands, and once we stop doing that, what's our purpose? Like you said, Ralph, we're lacking purpose. What's our purpose if we're not using our hands and we're not creating? I like to use the example of music. I believe that we are created. I believe that we were created by God, a mightier being, God. And people say, well, how can you prove that? And I go, well, we are created. We're special. Mankind is special. We're special than all the other animals. We're special. And I think how I prove that we're special is mankind. We're the only species that actually creates music. That's right. We are the only ones that create music. You say, yeah, but birds chirp and birds and singing. No, birds are communicating. That's not creating music. We can actually sit down and create music. We can play instruments. We can create sound. We can create music. And so we need to get back to being creators. We need to get back to creating things, getting our hands dirty, getting our hands in the dirt. We need to get back to doing stuff, and that occupies our time. That Now we're not sitting around thinking about all the things that we don't, all the things that are bad in our life, and we're not wallowing in the dirt. We're not, oh, poor me. I'm not going to do anything. What am I doing? Well, I don't know. What are you doing? Do something, for crying out loud, do something. And I find that this is the stuff I battle with all the time, and that's why I try to stay busy doing stuff. And please forgive my voice. I've been sick the last couple of days, and I'm kind of sounding like Barry White. I got my Barry White voice going.
Some people might like that. Don't worry.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, that's what I relate my problems to. I'm not doing anything. Even with my podcast, I got that going, and it's been a blast. It's been keeping me busy. But even with that, I still have to hit the reset and the redo button every now and then. I gotta do something to change my routine, to keep it fresh. Breaking
Something
away
different.
from, yes, breaking into the radio stations, WESN, Ride Time Radio, breaking in and doing stuff for, doing that. I find myself doing more interviews now, going out and interviewing with people, or not interviewing people. I do that more, but I'm also being interviewed more.
Right.
And just something to keep the ball moving, keep the momentum going, and keeping it refreshed, keeping it new, keeping myself busy. And I don't know. I look at people they're my age and older than me, and my neighbor Bob, my good friend Bob next door, he's older than I am. But you know what? The guy is always busy. He's always doing something. He's building something, making something, creating something. And I looked at him one day and I went, man, that's exactly what I need to do. I need to stay active, stay busy.
Right.
The best I can do. And I think that's one of the best medicines for mental health is just staying busy. If you can either stand in a mud puddle, a water puddle, and be all sad that you're in the water puddle and the rain's falling on you, and you're there and you're getting wet, or you could be like a little kid, start stomping around in the water puddle and having fun.
Right.
It's our choice. It's all boils down to a choice of ours that we make. So, but it is getting old. I don't wish any of you guys getting old, because old is a pain in the butt. It really is, and it's going to weigh on us. And it's the same for women. All those 5 things you talked about, Ralph, those 5 things you listed.
Yeah.
You can almost relate those to, what happens to you when you get old.
Right.
You lose your patience, you lose your purpose.
Yeah.
And all those
finances are less.
Finances are less. Yeah, all those you can relate to when you're getting old. And there's nothing you can do to stop that. It's going to happen. It is going to happen, Grammy and I used to love driving and traveling all over the place. When I first retired, that's what we were doing. We were retiring and we were driving everywhere, all over the country. We can't do that now. We can't, because I can't drive. I've gotten to the point where I'm afraid that I can sit down to watch TV and be asleep in 15 minutes. And when I fall asleep, I don't even know I'm asleep. I wake up and it's like, oh, I didn't know I was asleep. And I don't want that to happen to me while I'm driving. And that's how scary that is. And so we don't drive. We don't go driving around as much as we used to. So,
right.
But you surround yourself with positive people and do stuff. Be busy. Get a hobby. it's nothing wrong with when you're older and that. When you're younger, what did you used to do? You used to build model airplanes, model cars. You used to do all kinds of stuff. There's nothing wrong with redoing that again. I mean, you could still go buy those model kits and build cars, build model airplanes, boats, just do something that you liked to do. If you liked it at one time, you're probably going to like it again.
Right.
If you liked playing the guitar, chances are you still like playing the guitar. You just don't do it. Just start playing the guitar again. Just do something, occupy your time. And for what it's worth, that's just my opinion, Ralph, right there.
No, and it's a good thing that you brought up, man, because it's like the example that I was giving someone that's in my family that they're older and they've always been like I said, like the party type, the going out type, but now it seems like because they're older, they can't do it as much, but they still have that drive that, they do still want to go out and, go to a casino or go have a good meal, have a good, bottle of wine. And that keeps them like, moving, like things to look forward to. Like they always, in their mind, and I guess this is for everybody, like always keep something planning, right? Like always have something planning ahead. Because like you have something to look forward to, something that you're gonna have to work at. Like, oh, we're gonna have like 4th of July is coming up. I gotta start getting things for barbecue. I gotta get my music selection ready because I'm gonna jam it out, make sure the whole block hears me.
Yep.
Have plan something. Don't just like the old man says, sit around and mope. Like,
exactly.
Just plan what you're going to do and have to your ability, just execute whatever you can do, and that, yeah, and do it.
The best thing you can say to yourself if you find yourself sitting around moping, because we all find ourselves doing that. We're just sitting around moping, The best thing you can tell yourself is, I got to get up and do something.
Right.
That's it. I got to get up and do something because I'm just sitting here. I got to do something. We have more control over our state of mind than what people give us than what people give credit for. I mean, we really do, Ralph. I think so. Our whole life, we've lived our whole life with choices. We make choices every single day. Some of them are so obvious and some of them aren't, but we're every day, every minute of the day, we're making choices and we just have to choose to stay busy, If you find yourself moping and you're getting depressed, stop it. Just stop it. Stop it. I'm depressed. Well, stop being depressed. Go do something. I remember when we were growing up, when we were little kids, we'd be sitting there and my mom would say, "What's wrong with you?" "I don't know. I'm just bored." "Well, go do something." It's it is kind of just that simple. Stop it. Just stop being that way then, I really do believe that. So
it's like a something that I wanted to ask you about, because obviously you grew up in a different time.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of with men having their own month, quote unquote, their own month, right, for mental health and bringing more awareness. Like, is it really as simple as do something, or do you think like having talking groups or reaching out to somebody, or maybe getting like medical help for mental health is useful at all? Or do you think the whole thing of just as simple as just do something, could help alleviate a lot of problems?
And it's like I said, this is just my opinion.
Yeah, that's fine.
basing it off of me and my own life, and being, like you said, the generation I grew up with, yes, I really do believe it's that easy. I really do. I think we, gee, what's wrong today? What's wrong with today? Oh man, I don't know, man. I'm down in the dumps and that. Well, here, come sit in this group. Come sit in this group, and we'll all just listen and tell each other our problems, and and then just pat each other on the back and saying, we'll try to survive till the next meeting, and that's in next week.
Right.
Now,
Bring the coffee.
I'm from the old school where, what's wrong, old man? You depressed? Yeah, I'm all depressed. I'm in a growth. Well, get up and do something. Get off your butt and go do something. You'll feel better. That's the school I'm from. And I really believe I just believe that we've got to. You can sit around and talk about problems all day long, but unless you get your big butt off that chair and go do something, nothing's ever going to change. We hold the power to change. We do. I don't hold the power for Ralph William.
Right.
Ralph doesn't hold the power for the old man.
Here's a question for the old man. Sorry. How do you feel then? Just throwing a spanner in there. How do you feel if you know someone? So say if someone come up to you going, I'm all depressed, and like you said, look, go on, do something. But they were struggling to find something, like to make themselves feel that bit of purpose. How would you then say that to somebody then do you know what I mean? When they're coming to you with that, look, it was hard for them to say to you, look, I need help. But then you've just said, look, go on, off you go, you'll be all right. But they can't do that because that's one of the main fears, what's killing them off. How would you feel then to support them? Would you believe that you can support them? That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, then there is a time and a place for where you have to talk. You have to talk. But what I would do with someone like that, Ash, is I would just start digging back into their, well, what did you like doing when you were a kid? What did you like doing? Well, I used to like to make these, you used to buy those model car kits and put those things together. Well, why don't you do that now? Or I used to like to do puzzles. Why don't you do those now? I used to like to do the dot to dot things, where you start with, you have 1,000 dots and you go from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and you just do that. Well, why don't you do that now? I would strive to try to help them find something that they used to do and link it back to their youth. We used to think about it when we were kids. We had so much fun and we did a lot of stuff, and a lot of it was just kind of, our parents would say was nonsense, but actually it kept us busy. It kept us occupied, and being we were younger, we were learning at the same time. We're the same way when we're old. When we get older, we're the same way. We just have to go back to finding those things that were interesting to us and do them again. I've always wanted to learn how to draw. Well, then why don't you learn how to draw? I've always wanted to write. Well, why don't you start writing? And everybody's always got an excuse why they can't. Well, I don't have time to go to school and that. Well, you could buy self-help books and learn yourself, teach yourself. If you've got time to sit around and waller in your problems, you've got time to learn something. Right? Am I right?
Yeah, it's true. Some people need a little push or get that mental hurdle out of the way, right? Because usually people, like back in the day, obviously, in some of our back in the day, people didn't have choices, right? Like you said, now people have lots of choices.
Yeah.
If people, like back in the day, you either worked and got paid or you starved and died, right? Like there was back in the, like we complain about everything being so expensive now. Maybe there's a reason for that. Like maybe it's to keep people like, all right, I can't worry about my mental health because I need to find a way to survive with the little money I have, right? Like it's keeping them occupied, right? I mean, I know it's not, probably not a good example, but it's kind of like how it was back in the day, like the Great Depression, maybe after that, right? Like your purpose was working and providing and we can go back and forth on the woman's role, but even when women are working, it's the same thing. Like, you would have to work to get money and use your brain to allocate. How am I going to stretch this money out? Because, we're not getting paid enough. Right now that's a big topic. Like, oh, we need to raise the minimum wage and all that stuff. But anyway, that's a different subject. So it's like when you eliminate your choices, when you have little choices, it kind of helps, right? Like, because you're sort of forced out of that mindset. Like you can either stay in your ditch and drown or pass away or whatever, or you can learn how to climb your way out of the ditch, right? Because there's no other option.
Exactly.
There's no other option to talk to somebody else in the ditch with you. And then you guys can stay in the ditch for hours upon hours talking about being in a ditch.
Right.
Or you can find your way. Now, it's obviously that this is a lot easier to say than do.
Exactly.
And I understand. But that's probably the difference, between the eras.
Yeah, it always is easier said than done. But that doesn't mean don't do it. That doesn't mean don't give it a try. And then if you're there and you're stuck in a rut, like you said, and you're down in the ditch, and then next thing you know, somebody's down in the ditch with you, and now you're both sitting there down there complaining about, being in the ditch, and you're sitting there complaining and whining, and you don't notice the ladder sitting over there against the wall.
Yeah.
All you got to do is climb out. Climb out. What do I do? And the guy up on the top of the ditch is looking down at you guys going, hey, look over there. Look. Oh, don't leave me alone. We're wallowing in our trench over down here. What do you have to do to help us, man? You're up there and we're down here. You can't help. Look. There's a ladder. Climb out. Just climb out. Yeah. It is. It's always
I'm not just
done, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're not diminishing, people's. There's a lot of now. All right, so we're talking about everyday folks, old man. Now, how do we help men that have fought for this country, veterans, because there's mental issues with them, and they did stuff. You know, so we still have men, like I said, the stat earlier, 40 veterans pass away daily.
Yeah.
So that's, I'm not a veteran. I can only imagine what they go through or have gone through. But like, we can't just tell them, get out the ditch. Like they've probably been in ditches worse than what we can comprehend in our mind.
Exactly.
So how can we attack that?
Well, see, I am not a veteran. I did not serve. And so I cannot speak for the issues that those people face. And I feel for them. And I think the best that I can do, or really what anybody can do is we can just support them. We have to support them. We have to be there for them. We just have to be an open, an open hand to them. Here, well, what can I do for you, man? What can I do? How can I help you? How can I help you? Sometimes, like I said, I can't even speak for them because I don't know what's going on in their heads, Right. But I do know a little, as a human being to a human being, an arm around the shoulder says so much, You sit down, you talk, you put your arm around their shoulder, say, I don't have the answers for you, buddy, but I'm here for you. I'll help you get through this. That's about the best we can do. And we need to do that. We need to fight for our vets. See, and I grew up in the Vietnam War era. Nobody in our military got the stab in the back more than our Vietnam vets. I'll tell you that right up front. That's exactly how I feel. I was born right after World War II. And I remember, all the big parades for our veterans and this and that, big proud moment, the guys that fought in World War I and World War II and in Korea, yay, and then here's these poor guys from Vietnam, because it was so politicized. It was such a big political war. And these guys are treated like crap. They're called baby killers. Everybody looked down on them. Everybody threw stuff at them. There was no parades for the Vietnam War vets that came back. And even as a young man, I thought, what is going on with that? Why aren't we they're vets? Why aren't we treating them like vets? And they went for decades without any kind of recognition at all. And that has slowly changed, and it's not like that anymore. But those poor guys. How do you deal with that? I mean, you have all the conflicts that they faced during war, and then to come back and not have any support of your public. I don't know. The best thing you can do is just be their friend. Just tell them and when you say thank you for your service, look them in the eye and be sincere. Thank you for your service,
Right.
and you just got to be there for them and just help them.
Yeah, I think those two combinations are probably going to help most men, in particular, right? Like, not only telling them, all right, do something, but also offer the arm over the shoulder and be like, I'm here to listen, but we're gonna brainstorm and find things for you to do, to get you out of this rut. I think
Exactly.
that combination might be good.
I think that's the best combination right there. That's the best combination right there. Be supportive of the VA, what is it? Veterans of Foreign War, VFW halls, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, isn't that?
I'm not sure, maybe.
Yeah, it's like the American Legion, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, the VFW halls, these places that were purposely designed just for veterans. They're just it's like a little club. It's like a little club. You can't be in them if you're not a veteran.
Okay, it's not like the Illuminati.
I actually, they're just little pubs is all they are, but where it gives them a place to go and talk and communicate and have fun and that kind of stuff. So, but the American Legion halls, the VFW halls, be supportive of those groups. Be supportive of the veterans groups, but we gotta, you see, I don't know. What are we doing with our veterans, man? Why do we treat these people like this? I mean, we could spend billions and billions of dollars to some other land, some other country, but we can't get our homeless vets a place to rest their head.
Right.
That just has never made any sense to me whatsoever. We got those guys are on the streets eating out of garbage cans. We can't take care of our vets. We can spend $100 billion on something that we don't really have any. We don't have no dog in the fight at all, but we can do that. But we can't spend money and come up with vet centers. Build community places for these people to go and stay. Yeah. And they can stay there for free for all the money that we can put in there. It's just, it's just something's wrong with that mentality. Something is really wrong with that mentality.
Yep.
Yeah. Now you're making me mad.
No, it's a type of coffee. Yeah. Well, oh man, I don't want to keep you. If you need to get better and get your coffee, then you're more than welcome. If you want to hang out, that's fine through the whole show. I just want to give you that option. Is there anything that you want to say, Asha? Anything about what we're talking?
No, basically, like I said, when it comes to military and stuff like that, I keep very quiet because I've got a lot of respect for the military. But
Yeah.
if you don't know, you don't speak on it. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Because you could easily offend without trying to be offensive. Do you know what I'm saying? So I
Right.
always keep very quiet when it comes to war and military backgrounds and things like that. But you're right in exactly what you said there. There's nothing wrong what you said. It's the truth, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And it's a crazy thing because it's the same over here as well. It's not just over in America. But I don't, like I said, I'm not gonna talk on it too tough because I don't know enough about it.
Yeah. Oh, all right. So let's just bring it back to just men in general. Like, what do you think about those two strategies to help? Like, you can tell your mate, like, if your mate's going through some tough times or whatever, like, all right, brother, I'm here to listen, right? Like, what's on your mind? What's going on? But then, try and work with them to find things for them to do to get their mind off of it or to find solutions, right?
Yeah, but that's me. I would like, do you know, I will give you my time, my ear, and everything, but only if you want to help yourself. I wouldn't because it's
Right.
time. Life's too short. Do you know what I'm saying? And if you're being if you even if you don't have the confidence to believe in yourself to do anything, but you know that you're there being supported, I'll be there with you till you can get back up on your feet. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if you're just letting it overtake you, and that's what. But again, going back to how the old man said about doing something, you've got to make sure you can do it. Do you know what I mean? Like just more. I just wish that we had a lot more self-confidence in ourselves, and I don't mean self-confidence as in masculinity and I'm our Bruce Lee. I mean the confidence in ourselves to go, you know what, today's a bit of a bad day, but if I've done one small thing, at least I know I've done something. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
even for example, in my place, if I've hoovered and tidied up, I might have done nothing for the rest of the day, but I've done something.
Right.
And you are right in exactly what you're saying, because it annoys me if I've literally done nothing for that whole day. Do you know what I'm saying? And like, even if you just go, and we just got to understand that the smallest task is still a task. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, when everything just feels so overwhelmed and you're just like, oh, I've got to do this and I've got to pay that, or I've got to make sure this person's sweet. I've got to run around and do you know what I mean? Instead of all of that stress, it is easily manageable when you think, right, prioritize what you need to do. And if you don't get it all done in one day, it's okay. Do you know what I mean? Tomorrow is a new day, you know? And I
Right.
think we don't have that. We have that attitude, but because of the pressures of life, it overtakes us. And I think that's what makes us feel more overwhelmed and feel like we can't do anything, and the hopelessness, because I'm like, well, I should have got this done today, but I
Right.
didn't, you know?
Yeah.
So I just want to,
It's like obviously one of the big reasons for men's depression and stuff is finances, right? Like, let's say a man lost his job, or maybe his income is not as it used to be, and in their mind, they're just like, man, I gotta find a whole new career. I gotta, it has to be this amount of money, like looking at the bigger picture of things, right? And in doing that, it makes it too much to tackle. But if you just start with little steps, like, all right, I'm gonna make a cup of coffee this morning and see what kind of jobs are out there. You know, like something that doesn't seem too hard to do, like just looking isn't or it shouldn't be overwhelming, right?
No, but you do
And
it.
then, yeah, and then the next step would be, all right, let me see which one is the closest to me. I'm just gonna stroll on over and just see what it's all about. Just look, oh, there's a little office place, you know, just looking around, you know, and just doing little incremented steps that at the moment looking at it doesn't seem like a big deal, right? And then before you know it, you know, best case scenario in a month or a week's time, you probably have a job in it, right?
That's it.
Whereas in the beginning, you thought your whole world was going to collapse because you're making half of what you used to make, you know, but you're able to get back on at least having something consistent, right? A consistent paycheck, you know, or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of thing. And going back for those that are just joining, we had an example of a man walking down an alleyway and looking down the alleyway and feeling that it's dangerous, and because you're feeling anxious about it, you try to avoid it, right? And that transcribes to other parts of your life, like you create a little bubble or a box between you and the whole world. Instead of like going in that alleyway at night, try seeing what it looks like in the daytime and walking through it, you know, where it's not as scary. Or, you know, little increments here that like just find little ways to like overcome these little obstacles. Like I know, like I'm saying, like we've always said, it's always easier said than done, right? We're just trying to give people practical steps that they can do, you know, to help facilitate that. And Tom, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate your input, and your information is going to help me a lot because, like I said, not only this month, but the last couple of months has been a little trying for me, and just the act of you saying, just do something, you know, it's going to help go a long way. So everybody, make sure to go check out the Old Man's Podcast wherever you get your podcast, whether it's Google, Apple, Spotify, and you can also find them on Mixcloud.com. Mixcloud.com. Excuse me. And also you can listen to him on a radio show, Ride Time Radio. Go to ridetimeradio.com as well, and you can check him out. I believe he does his, maybe it's either Wednesdays or Thursdays show. So go check him out. The Old Man's Podcast. So, yeah.
I was going to say, you know what you should have done? I think this, with the old man talking there, I just literally just felt like putting on like a little, putting an echo effect to it, and then putting like some like pure upbeat, we can do this,
Right?
motivational speech music. Like,
I know.
we are
It's
men.
We are men.
We are
We
men.
can tackle it. We can be like an army.
That's it.
So we're also met by another man on the panel, not new to the podcast, but new to the panel. I don't know if he's able to talk, but you can check him out. I think he publishes his shows. The Toilet Bowl Club. He goes by the name of JP. He also has a Patreon if you want to help support Patreon. He's trying to break into radio. You can check out his buddy, Mike Babchek. I believe this show is called The Morning. No, you can tell us, JP. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Ralph. A couple of things. I only post the good episodes of the Toilet Bowl Club, so there's only 2 out there. Sadly, Angie and I have been doing the show for about 4 years. There's 2 episodes.
You were able to scrape 2. Good job.
Yeah.
Content, JP.
Yeah.
I'm very, I'm very particular about what I publish.
I believe it.
But yeah, no, actually, Mike Babchek is on Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio in the morning, and he is on a show called the DA Show with Babchek. But yeah, no, I'm glad you guys are doing this again today. I enjoyed the last one you guys did, and it's always good to hear Asha talk.
Yeah, especially something that's not, that's something serious. It's out of his character, sort of.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can tell Asha is a very well thought person.
All right, don't blow his head up. I wanna...
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Kurt, could you say more nice things about me? Thank you.
Yeah, as you are.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Right. But it's interesting that you're talking about just like just being overwhelmed with everything and not knowing how to get started. I'm literally right now where I sit in my basement. I'm like surrounded by piles of junk because I actually have started like cleaning out my basement a little bit and throwing stuff away, which one of the things I hate doing. But I was doing it yesterday because I needed to do some work and I was looking for some papers and I couldn't find it. And I was like, I know it's on this table. So I basically said, I'm going to clear off this table and I'm going to find it. Well, I cleared off the table, but I didn't find what I was looking for. But I still felt like I had accomplished something. Although all the junk is closer to me, I still felt like I did accomplish something and I felt good. And my wife was even surprised because she came down and she was like, wow, you threw away a bunch of stuff. So it's
That's
like little
good.
steps, like you were saying, little steps. So
yeah, it's what are some things that you've either are going through or have overcome? From a male's perspective, I mean, without getting without you getting into any of your personal things, but like one of the all right, the top 5 things is usually that I said earlier. I think is finances, loss of purpose, problems in relationships, drop in testosterone, or health things. Like, what are some things that you may have gone through or going through that you're and you found some steps, or you were able to overcome it, or maybe just manage it, for other men that are probably going through it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I certainly feel like I'm a work in progress.
I think we all are, but yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, I mean, it's like when you say overcome, I don't think I've overcome a whole lot, but I think I have a pretty, healthy outlook on life. I don't get too upset about things, which it's a good thing, but it also can create problems in relationships, and even at work, because there are other people who do get upset, and if you don't get upset, then they feel like you don't care. And that goes whether, it's a relationship or it's at work or whatever. And so you have to recognize that. And it's like with my wife is kind of like that. If I don't get upset, it's basically that I don't care about stuff. And I don't know that that's true or untrue, but we have to kind of come to an agreement about, I have to do some things that I may not want to do. And I don't do them not because I don't care, but because it's just something that I'm not, interested in doing.
Are you on about that time when you went to IKEA?
To IKEA? No. I guess one of the things recently that's come up was we live in a decent house or whatever, and we have carpet upstairs, and we've been needing to replace the carpet upstairs for years, and it always gets into an argument because it's expensive or whatever. But I recently, had a bonus or whatever, and I said, all right, we'll replace the carpet. And it's just amazing how something like that just makes everything so much better. And granted, that's spending a lot of money, and it was a fair amount of money, not a huge amount, but a fair amount.
What do you mean? Changing carpet makes things better?
Well, yeah, because now it's like my wife is very happy about the new carpet, and we don't have the argument about how bad the carpet is, and and so that, for me, that's like an example of, it's something that had to be done. It didn't necessarily have to be done like right away, but it was important to her, and it was less important to me. But at the end of the day, I had to, just own up to, hey, it's important to her. Let's get it done.
Because she's unhappy, you're going to be unhappy.
Yeah, it helps both of us, and it takes one less thing for us to be fighting about, arguing about. And I was concerned about the money piece of it, but it just so happened that we had something happen that I was able to get some money and use it for that. And then I felt good about it because we actually went to 2 different places, and we saved a fair amount of money as well. So I felt better about that. So
let me ask you, because it kind of goes into one of the 3. I don't want to say leading causes, but one of the aspects of men's depression is, relationship problems, right? Now, just for general sake, like, yes, you were able to fix one less thing that you guys were, or this, she would, or you guys would argue about. Now, was something else replaced after that problem got fixed?
Not yet. I mean, there's still
so
not yet.
Not yet.
I got like a grace or whatever. But I mean,
you got a good window time. Go ahead.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's like, and I'll just use the carpet as an example because it's something that, every night when we go to bed or whatever, and we start climbing the stairs and we feel the carpet, it just feels so much better than how it used to feel. And so it's like she can't go upstairs and be mad at me with
that's a good point.
Nice carpet under or whatever.
It's a constant reminder of my husband did this.
Yeah. And so I don't know for me, the carpet is just like one example that we kind of just stumbled upon, but there's probably other things that are out there that, you could do as a man, as a person or whatever, and kind of just like get it so that it just takes one of the things that you argue away, and that just keep stacking those. It's just like you were saying earlier about like just having the coffee and look for a job or whatever. Just keep stacking those things up and
keep stacking those wins.
Yeah,
because you're the person in your life, man or woman, whatever. It's gonna stress you out, right? And not necessarily like, I don't know how to word this. Not to the point where they're abusing you, right? Like that you always have to like appease them just for you to be happy, because that's not healthy either. But because in the long run, it's going to be something that you two are going to be stressed out. It's not going to be you, right? Like, so just work on it. Work on whatever the issue might be with your partner. And hopefully it's another notch, in the moving towards a little more healthier mindset, right?
Right, yeah, and it's for both of you too, because it's like she doesn't want to, keep complaining about whatever it is she's complaining about. And,
right.
Whether it's me complaining about something else, we don't want to do that, but that's just kind of like the mindset we get into.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to have some of those wins that you both kind of agree on, and you can just say, yeah, but I know this is, we're feeling this way right now, but have you stepped on the carpet lately? have you whatever? Have you looked outside?
Have you seen the garage?
The flower bed. Have you seen the flower bed or something like that?
Have you seen have you seen have you seen the grass? And you know what?
Yeah.
this might be, I don't know, in my head, I feel like I'm connecting different dots because what the old man was saying earlier is like do something, right? To get your mind off of stuff. And when your partner is constantly telling you, you know, the grass is getting a little bit tall there, or you know, you could be cleaning out the basement, or you know, you could get an extra job. Well, maybe not that part, but in a way, I feel like when your partner does that, it kind of helps your mental state because it's giving you things to do. It's giving you things to do, right? Which in turn helps you not dwell on, you know, whatever it is that you're dwelling on, right? Like,
You mean like purpose?
yeah, it's giving you purpose. Like, I don't, because I don't know if you were able to listen while old man was talking. Like the generation now, or at least in his time, is like they have too much idle time, and if you're just sitting around dwelling on, you know, whatever you're going through, it's not going to help. But once you start doing things, just something, and occupying your time, that it sometimes may help with whatever you're going through. Like if he was saying like, what was like an old hobby that you enjoyed doing as a kid that you can probably do now, you know, to get your mind off of things, learning how to draw, you know, things like that. So like, but if you're married, right? And let's say like you want to sit around and relax or whatever, which is good too, right? But then you start getting in a funk, like, you know, your own male inadequacies, right? But then she reminds you, like, hey, you know,
Got some dishes to get.
you got some dishes to do. Yeah, like, you know, that grill ain't gonna clean itself. You know, 4th of July is coming, or that grass is getting kind of tall. You know, it's the homeowners association is gonna get on our case. You know, so like in a way, like as much as men want to complain, like, oh, the old ball and chain is nagging me again. In a way, they're helping your mental state by keeping you busy, right? Because once you stop doing things, then that's when like the stresses of life will get to you, right? Like obviously don't take this, like don't nag your man all the time, right? But to do things, you know, in adequate times apart, but let them know that, hey, listen, you know, I know you're going, whatever you might be thinking about, I'm here for you, but you know, them dishes got to get clean. It's like the laundry's got to get done. I don't know. Like, it's kind of like the Karate Kid, right? When the first one, or it's what the young Daniel's son, or whatever his name is at the time, Ralph Macchio, was doing like this mindless, well, he thought it was mindless and useless little tasks, right? That Miyagi made him do. But then he got so frustrated, like, why are you making me do stuff for you? Like, what the hell is this? Like, this is mindless work. Like, I don't need to do this. And then he was like, all right, well, show me what you've been doing. And in a way, it showed him like, all right, well, I'm actually learning technique here. You know, this is something that helped him, you know, learning karate. So like the fact that like not dwelling on your problem and channeling it into a task, whether it be weightlifting or jobs around the house or a hobby that you're interested in, like it helps get your mind off of whatever you're going through. Like Asha, I got a feeling that no matter what we're going through, I think we can probably still DJ on our free time when we're 60.
Listen, I'm going to be rocking up that retirement home every time.
Right? We're going to be 60 years old still playing like in the beginning, there was Jack,
That's it.
60.
and Jack had a groove.
You know it.
60.
Yeah.
60 is not that old.
Well, I mean, that's like the good line between old, but yet your functions are still there, right?
You can still piss straight.
Right. And even at 80, you can still DJ in a wheelchair. If you're in a wheelchair, you just put your decks on your knees,
On your Zimmer. Modify
on
your
your Zimmer.
That's it.
All right. So Lightbright posted something in the chat. Does somebody want to read what she wrote? Something. It was a long thing that she wrote.
I'll read it.
Thank you, sir.
Lightbright posts: maintaining relationships, not only romantic, is essential too. It's not fair to unload all of your stuff on your partner. It's unreasonable to expect your partner to be able to take care of their own stuff and everything that gets dumped on them too. It's good to share something with your best friend and share some with a counselor or something. So yeah, no, I think you're right. I think for me, I guess one of the lessons that I learn and I struggle with, one of the hardest things for me is how to take when my wife is telling me to do something, or I'll say it's my wife, so I'll use her as an example, because I just automatically get defensive, and I think that's pretty common among men. And
oh yeah.
And so that's not the best way to do it, because like you said, she's providing a purpose, and she's not bringing it up just to bring it up. And so that's one of the things that I struggle with, and it's a constant. I just need to remind myself. She this is a valid point. I respect her. It's easy for me to say, oh, I respect her point or whatever, but unless I actually do something about it, I'm not really showing her the respect that she deserves. So,
Good point. Do you guys, anybody want to say anything about what Lightbright said? Somebody else in the chat said, I think it was Rockwaller, said that your partner needs to be one of your biggest supporters. And then Lightbright said that, it's good, right? I mean, we might have touched upon this on the last show, but that's one of the things that men struggle with, right? Because, well, it could go either way, but for most relationship dynamics, I assume, right? I don't know, that women look towards the men to be the one that can handle life's stressors, right? Or at least be the one to say, it's okay, babe, or miss, or lady, or whatever. Wife, woman,
property.
I'll handle this. Yeah, property. Cook me some eggs and I got this. No. I got this. Don't worry. I'll find a way to make it work or fix the problem or whatever. Right. So you don't want to dump for guys, you don't want to dump everything on your woman, because she might still be looking at you as the person that's going to handle or can handle the stressors of real life stuff. Right. But in that, with saying that, then you need to find someone else that you could dump things that you need to get out. Maybe not necessarily to get a resolution for, but just so you can relieve it, not hold it in too much, right? Because that can explode later on, and then you'll get the cook the man some eggs, situation going on. But you got to find that balance, right? So,
yeah. But you both work to each other's strengths, though. Do you know what I mean? When you find your partner, you might be good at one thing and they'll be able to help you at that. And then I think it's just hard to accept. But I think to be a strong-minded, you've got to understand your weaknesses, and you got to understand what's not logic sometimes.
Yeah.
To understand, to make logic, if you get what I'm saying. So it's a little bit like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta know your partner. Your partner's gotta know you. You know, if it's going to be a long-term partnership, right? Like you're not gonna just, you know, dump everything in a 1 month relationship that you're in like that.
That's it.
You
Fuck
know?
that.
Yeah.
That's it.
We're also met by Duke James, who is out in Virginia, I believe,
Yes.
and was recently out in the UK for 6 months. He's recently had a baby girl, and now he's back in the States, and he's on the panel. What's going on, Duke? What's on your mind?
I just want to say this conversation is great. It's good to have men expressing themselves in great ways, and that kind of segues into what I've been doing over with my podcast. I've recently just changed the name up to the Union Campfires of Fatherhood, and so one thing that I want to do now, being that I am a dad, I want to be able to get around more fathers, regardless if you are, you know, a biological father, a father figure, an uncle, you know what I mean, a co-worker at somebody's job. Like we all have experiences with children as men, and one of the things that attack men mostly is their mental health, and it tends to revolve around their children. So I'm learning that myself currently right now that it is it's not easy being a dad, no more than it's easy being a man. You know what I mean? People may think that being a man is all about how strong you are, how witty you may be, how confident you may feel in yourself. But even in those times, men are still challenged, and we don't have the space. From I'm 35 years old, and I'll be honest to tell you, like growing up, it was never a case of you know men crying around me. You know what I mean? Like being emotional or vulnerable enough to really for you to really see, that men have emotions. It's always been, you gotta be tough, you gotta be hard, you can't allow yourself to be soft because the moment you're viewed as soft, people are gonna take advantage of you. And it's sad, but that's just that's just the nature of the beast, being a man. Now, we are talking about mental health, but I'm gonna also throw in that women go through it just as much as men do. So we not we're not trying to sit and say that men go through anything worse than women. Some women will disagree. Childbirth is difficult. It's physical and it's emotional. So
Yeah, I don't want to. We're not diminishing women, but I think women got enough holidays. So I want to stick to Men's Mental Health Month.
um, I'm gonna give like a little snippet of, if you'll indulge me, of one of the episodes that I've done recently, and it was talking about like we just sitting around here just chatting off ideas, concepts. Some people are giving their own personal stories, and that's one thing that you know the union campfire of fatherhood is what I wanted to represent. Like men coming together and bringing wisdom to help other men, young men, older men, go through life challenges by sharing stories. But what I the take from this is that various different cultures around the world view fatherhood
very differently. I'm not going to get into all of them, but
Yeah.
it's amazing to see how being a father or a man in general, it does have its, I would say, privileges, but that's not the word I want to use. But it has its perks. That's the word I want to use. It has its perks, especially when you get around, other men and they're sharing wisdom with each other. Like, oh, I have this way of making extra money on the side, or it's
Right.
sitting with their kids at night and sharing with them a story about their day, but they're using fictitious characters to get the child engaged in the story. You know what I mean? So we're always set to a standard where we have to, um, be the voice of, I would say, logic or maybe reason.
Right.
And so, sometimes most people don't get a chance to be that reason for whatever reason. They may not feel confident. That's one thing that you all were saying earlier about men being confident. If you got something that you want to share with the world, share it. Because
Yeah.
you never know
So
who it.
so let me tell you, let everybody know where can people what's the name again so they can find you, because we got about 6 minutes and I want to tackle some other stuff before we head out. So where can people
Sure.
find your podcast?
You could you can find my podcast here on Podbean. I'll be doing one a day, one a week shows currently right now. But you could find the replays on YouTube. I am going to redo those first 2 episodes because they didn't turn out the way I wanted them to. So I'm going to redo them all over again. And I honestly implore you guys to come out and, share, because it's for men. Women are welcome to come, but men, we need to, stay on each other and keep each other encouraged as much as possible.
Yes, thank you, Duke. Which leads me to the last part that I want to see if we can get some headway in is it is Men's Mental Health Month, right? It is let me make sure I got it right. It is the 25th. But that doesn't mean it has to end this month. We need to find ways to keep. We always find ways to keep. Like, I'm not trying to make this like a separation of sex thing, but for men, there needs to be a constant availability to them to air out something that they're going through, that we're going through, because it shouldn't end in a month. It's something that we need to progressively keep going on a daily basis. Because all it takes is a few seconds for a bad mental episode and a whole man's world crumbles. It ends with either their life or other people's lives. We just mentioned veterans, 40 veterans pass away daily. Not excluding, and obviously including other men as well that are not veterans, right? So we need to find ways to tackle this on a daily basis, and we need to get into the mindset of what we can do as men to, on a daily basis, help our mental health. So really quick, if you can, just brainstorming. What are some things that you think can help men's mental health on a daily?
Well,
Going to the pub.
That's facts.
And
That's facts. No, listen. But one thing I will say about that is, I wasn't able to mention earlier when you were speaking about the shit.
Is
I
veterans?
can't. About the it doesn't even matter. But when you specifically though, men's mental health is definitely an important thing, and creating a circle. And so sometimes we don't necessarily actively seek out, especially men, like relationships, or hey, call up Hey, Ralph, what up? Ralph, what up? JP, what up? We won't necessarily actually communicate with each other and say, what's going on? You good? What you going through? You know what I'm saying? And talk to each other. So that's one thing that I think in general, like seeking out a circle. And if you don't have one, like just getting up and just literally seeking out, or something like Podbean, you know what I'm saying? Just actively seeking out other maybe like-minded or at least caring-minded individuals, because sometimes like-minded can cause a group thing, and it can just become just a negative venting session. Somebody that you feel like you can trust in, and that's something. Sometimes you got to battle with yourself, so you may have to see a counselor first because you don't have no trust in anybody. So that so that's the thing that you have to actively search out. And there are veterans groups or maybe like mental health groups. Man, there are groups out there that you can just try, and just like you would try a relationship or you would go to the gym, you have to actively seek that kind of help sometimes to be able to have a vetting session and be and then vulnerability is what I guess I was trying to think of earlier with your girl. Like most men don't come to their girl and unload anything. We just keep it in, and when we do say something, it's because we've kept it in for so long. Typically, a man's a man. Like I want to, typically we go to other men, so we know if we unload all this stuff on her, she's not going to respect you anyway. We can't cry. We taught to not to be vulnerable. So for a man to be vulnerable, I was talking about that. Women have to realize that especially a man's man to be vulnerable, that takes a lot. So there's a level of appreciation you should have for that, obviously. But I think actively just searching out.
Gotcha.
Actively searching out. Yeah.
Thank you, Chilwell. This is going to be end soon. We might need to do another one. Who knows? Maybe not today, but another time. Really quick, I want to make sure I get this out on a daily. Men should be able to take. I lost my train of thought. Take some daily walks. Reach out to people. Get a little bit healthier, and you'll look it up. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. And we'll try and do more of these in the future because Men's Mental Health Month shouldn't end in 30 days. So,
can I just